Good morning, friends. Nice to see you all. Nice to see you arriving and checking in and greeting each other. So, wherever you are and however you are, welcome. I'm in Paris in the 9e. I've been here for a few days, teaching at Terre d'Éveil, which is an association here in Paris that organises teachings and events. I think maybe a couple of you here who were there this weekend. Nice to just spend time practicing with a group of people. A lot of sincerity, actually. We were sort of, 40 or 50 there in the room for the weekend, and then there was another 10 or 20, not sure, online. And just by virtue of really showing up together, even among, quite a lot of people, 40 or 50, just a real sense of kind of ease, intimacy, kind of that sense of trusting in the goodness of our practice and the way it allowed people to relax somehow, just to trust their own voice, to be willing to share anything that that they felt might be helpful to share. And sometimes we can feel some restraint on that, some worry about what others might think, or whether our question is a good enough one or something. And it was quite beautiful to be in a situation and just to feel that concern, whatever the factors that allowed it, to feel that concern kind of melting away. Yeah. So one of the things that we did, on the Saturday I arrived and people were waiting and it was all rather silent. People would come from we have that association with retreats, and it's true that the day was going to be led in silence. But I always find in that kind of urban situation, it's most helpful. It's good for people to not just have a day of practice in a solitary sense, but also in a sangha sense, a communal sense. When we get together and practice, it's not a solitary silence. It's a communal silence. It's a shared silence. It's a generous silence. It's a caretaking silence. And so on the Sunday morning, I suggested that as people arrived, that we put some music on and that people, actually connect with one another. And then when we started the day formally together at 10 o'clock, it had such a different feel than on the Saturday. Feel of connection, and the way it's connection, even if sometimes we just what was that word? We small talk. How are you doing? Oh, the weather's like this. Which arrondissement do you live in, etc. Small talk often isn't. We can be a little. Sometimes I hear people, we say, "Well, small talk," as if it's something superficial, insubstantial, not worth engaging in. But small talk often isn't just small talk, right? It's underneath the words, the subject matter. We're kind of checking each other out. Oh, how trustworthy are you? Are you going to approve of me? Can I relax around you? Oh, can I open up to you? And yeah, beautiful to see that happening. Voila, and then here we are together. And in some ways this is a very different situation, right? Because you can all see me, but you all are just these little square tiles and names to each other. Except that actually many of you are so much more than that to each other. And that sense actually of just goodwill, basically. The metta field of goodwill, of friendliness, of well-wishing, of support. That field's often just very, very tangible here. And like that, right? It's sort of small talk, isn't it? Everybody signing in, just saying good morning and hello, and I'm here, and the weather is a sunny morning or a rainy morning or whatever. But you see, it's like, oh yeah, it serves a purpose. It serves as much more than a greeting or a weather report. It serves as an expression of connection, goodwill. And sometimes, I think that's a good practice. Just seeing how, as we move around the world, whether, and we meet people and we go to shops and whatever's going on, just that sense of, oh, how can I be somehow a goodwill ambassador? They have those famous people who are goodwill ambassadors for the UN or UNICEF or something. It's like, oh, how can I be an emissary of goodwill? And some people, it's sort of their natural talent. Some people are quite articulate, gregarious, and they sort of exude a quality of warmth. Right? And then for some of us, it's not so much like that. But somehow, if one feels a little shy or a little awkward or a little unsure or a little insecure in a situation, actually bringing forth some warmth and some connection is a good way to then feel that not just towards, but also to feel that from others, because we all respond to it. Everybody wants to feel, if they're in contact with somebody, it lights you up. If you're in contact with someone and you feel, oh, this person is just warm. The eyes are alive. The heart's engaged. And even the very sort of seemingly superficial or brief encounters we might have with people at the checkout of a store or something, it's like it changes the nature of that interaction. If we bring warmth, connection, goodwill, it changes the whole feel of our day, actually, because then we feel we're moving through a world populated by that. And it changes the feel and the experience and the day of the person that we were in contact with. Because when we open our laptops or our newspapers, if anybody reads newspapers anymore, or turn on the TV, if anybody watches TV anymore, the sense we get of the world is often a world that seems made of violence, corruption, cruelty, decay, and problems, basically. The world of newspapers and news websites and TV news and all that is a world of problems. Da-da-da-da-da-da, and tonight, problem number one. Pa-pum, pa-pum, pum. There's dramatic music to illustrate the problem. And those things are real, right? And yet if that's where we get our source of the world from, our sense of the world from, that's a very, very particular take on what the world is. And those things, might well need our care and attention, although often we're being told about things that seem horrifying, and yet they're totally out of the realms of our own capacity for care and attention. And then we feel not only kind of anxious or depressed about the state of the world, but also hopeless in terms of our capacity to do anything about it. Well, there's something you can do about it. You can bring warmth and goodwill and connection to the interactions you have. And that might seem like a small thing, but everything is a small thing, right? Anything we do is a small thing. So what if we were to spend our lives doing small things with warmth and connection, goodwill, playfulness, a generosity of spirit, the dana. Dana, that means generosity. So often we speak about dana, and it seems to be about that bit where we're supposed to give some money, right? But dana is a spirit of generosity. It's the cultivation of the wish to and the joy of sharing, the wish to support, the wish to share, the wish to offer. And then knowing the glad-heartedness, the joy, the blessing, the beauty of offering, of supporting, of sharing. So maybe today's a good day for dana, for the dana of offering goodwill, warmth, connection. And in the light of that, a good way to cultivate those qualities is just by sitting quietly. Call that meditation. When we sit quietly, how easily we just get distracted, or our own inner news feed comes in. Problem, problem of me, problem of others, problems of the world. So meditation can be a mirror to see how, on the one hand, our habits tend to reinforce a sense of dissatisfaction or agitation or unease or complaint or problem, and yet how we can actually establish ourselves here with a sense of welcome, openness, goodwill. So I'll give just a few little orientations to that as we sit together. And sitting with a heartful awareness, a glad-hearted presence. Yeah. Like this then, we sit together. So please take your seat for meditation. And as you settle, if you can hear, by the way, some kind of strange noises, I don't know what kind of activity going on in the apartment above me. It sounds like they're moving or packing stuff up or something. So nothing I can do about it, but just so you know, that's what the extra shuffling noises might be. So as you settle into your sitting posture, please see if you can do so with a sense of glad-heartedness. Glad to be here. And even if there's something uncomfortable, painful, distressing in your current experience, maybe it's still possible to be glad-hearted. Glad-hearted that you can meet what's here, rather than being defended against it. Glad-hearted that you can care for what's here, instead of just pushing back against it. Glad-hearted that you're breathing. Glad-hearted for the ordinary miracle of this in-breath and this out-breath. If you want to be glad-hearted as you sit, relax and soften a little in your chest. Roll your shoulders back a little, which creates a sense of space in your chest. A feel of a kind of receptivity, an openness to life, to experience, to whatever's presenting itself. What's it like? What's it like in this whole central area of your chest? Just as you're sitting here, gently breathing, gently settling into the feel of being present, gently allowing the passage of everything, of sounds and sensations, thoughts and impressions. What's it like? To cultivate a sense of being here with an undefended heart. You can use a natural feel of breathing, right? That swelling of the in-breath and the softening of the out-breath. And so keep this area in the heart feeling fluid, open. On the one hand, feeling receptive, and As if all experience is being met here in the heart, as if sounds are being heard here in the heart. As if thoughts are being met here in the heart. And on the other hand, a sense of a kind of outgoing movement, that fluidity, a sense of heart's offering of goodwill, offering of tenderness towards the changing moments. And I'm going to need to just step away from the computer for just a minute or two, so no cause for alarm if you see me disappear. Just keep sitting in this way. Sitting, settling, sensing, softening again and again into the undefended heart of awareness. whatever's present right now in your experience. Even if it's the recognition that you've just been lost or caught up in thought somewhere. Seeing is it possible to be warm, forgiving, glad-hearted, generous, spirited towards whatever's present in your experience in this moment. Our experience melts in the face of this quality of heart. Our dramas crumble. Our agitation relaxes. We find out that whatever the situation, it's okay to be here. It's okay to be in this body, in this mind, in this world. It's okay. And the relief of this okayness then in turn feeds the glad-heartedness, the tenderness. The wish to keep opening one's heart to whatever arises and passes. This is the heart of awakened awareness. If in the midst of all this talk of an undefended heart, your heart doesn't feel that way, if you feel some way shut down or fearful or just grumpy or judgmental or critical of yourself in some way, well, see if you can be tender with that. Just forgiving of the condition you find yourself in. Softening any sense of blame. Recognizing that what your painful experience most wants, most needs, is a little tenderness, a little warmth and connection. There's nothing that cannot be met in an undefended heart. Nothing that cannot be healed through a consistency of loving attention. Last minutes of the sitting. You might want to experiment with just with the sense of just letting your heart, that whole area in the heart, and that sense, that quality of glad-heartedness, warmth, receptivity, just letting it expand. Maybe it's possible for the sense of the heart of awareness, this warmth of presence. Maybe it's possible that it can just open up and be more and more inclusive. Inclusive of the whole feel of sitting here, and of the space around you. Inclusive of the soundscape and of thoughts. Maybe it can open up to include the sense of your neighbours or the people you might share your home with. Maybe it just can keep on opening up, and there's a sense of boundlessness of heart. Boundlessly undefended heart. It's that sense, that feel of the possibility of a heart that can welcome everything, reject nothing. May we all know an undefended heart. May we all bathe in goodwill and glad-heartedness. May we all know the true heart's rest. The boundless heart of awareness. All right. Good. And good morning to whoever that is in Botswana. I don't think we have too many people who sit here at Sangha Live in Botswana. So I'm not... Oikenyengo, I'm not sure how much of that or which part of that is your name, but welcome. Maybe it's not your first time here at all, I don't know, but either way, yeah, welcome. All right, friends, that was meditation. And it's interesting when the focus is a little more specific, right? Like today, a little specific focus on heartful awareness, and the suggestion of a particular feeling, warmth, glad-heartedness, goodwill, etc. It doesn't mean necessarily that we will feel that particular way, right? That's why I mentioned at the end of the meditation, if that's not what's happening, just you can still be tender with that. And we might, for one or other reason, you might feel shut down in some way. So the sense that we can always be open-hearted doesn't mean we're always going to feel open-hearted. It means that even if you feel closed-hearted, that you can be, it sounds a bit clumsy to say it like this, but you can be open-hearted to the fact that you feel shut down or closed-hearted. Yeah. All right. If there are questions this morning, if there are things that feel they might be helpful to explore, give some air to, ask about, here's the chance. So you can type question, just that reminder to actually write question in capitals at the beginning of your question. It helps me to recognize them then among the flow of the chat. And just before we get into questions, just that reminder of talking of generosity this morning. That's how this whole platform runs, right? Sangha Live runs on that sense of mutual support offering. So here I am trying to offer support the best I can, and then here's the invitation to you to offer support the best you can. And normally George would handily post in the link at this moment, but I'm not sure George is here this morning. So anyway, if you'd like to offer dana, thank you. It's much appreciated. It's much needed. It's the only way that Sangha Life can maintain itself. And you can just do that at sangha.live/donate. And the link anyway is in the email that you would have got when you signed up. Yeah. All right. Oh yeah, and somebody else from far away, from Queensland, Jabba, first time here. Good, welcome. All right, Eleanor says, it was interesting. I was really resenting the sitting, like some criticism would come or some information I would not want to hear. It's challenging staying still and to listen. Well, I would say in that sense, Eleanor, no need to listen to the content, right? So, but listen to the state. What's the state, right? When you're feeling resentful, critical, right? Oh. So that's a state, right? Whatever the content, we can easily find plenty of things to resent or criticize, right? There's an infinite amount of things to feel resentful of or critical towards. So, but resentful is... It's like if you can get a sense of that, oh, can I be tender towards that? So that's that's a good way to compensate for the very untender content, criticism, resentment, etc. And then we realize, oh, it's painful to feel resentful. It literally, it's like we feel screwed up or shut down, or like we're sort of spiky or something, or pushing out against things. Oh, that's painful. Anything that's painful, what does it want? Oh, it wants a bit of tenderness. Just like when we're in pain, oh, we just want a bit of tenderness. Or when we're ill, oh, we just want someone to look after you. It's like all of your experience, all that it really, really wants is some care and attention. Or some caring attention. So, but if you can't give that just to the content, right? All those resentful, critical thoughts, but you can give it to the state. And when that resentment, that state gets that care and attention, that will maybe just soften or dissolve the resentful thoughts, or it'll at least change your sense of what they are, how real or solid they are, etc. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Eleanor. Nice to see you. And thank you for posting in the Dana link. All right. Sinclair says, as I softened around the heart, pain amplified or increased and was still intense at the end of the meditation. How to deal with this? Gently. So, what does that mean? What does it mean to attend to it gently? Like, if it's too much, if it feels too much, and you can't be gentle anymore, then move away. Open your eyes. Move your attention sort of outwards to something a little more easier or lighter to feel or sense into. So all the while you can be gentle. It's like the Buddha's image for this, the way the Buddha describes it, is as a mother cradling a beloved infant. Those of you, if you have children, or even if you have just nephews or nieces that you love, or even domestic animals. I mean, any being that you're in contact with that feels in some way vulnerable, and that you know, oh, how naturally the wish to take care of that being is there. Just, and it's like, that's the good feeling to have. Oh, that's what, if this, what did you say? It's just heart pain, pain around the heart. It's like, oh, can you hold it in that kind of sort of rocking, soothing, gentle kind of way, and see what the effect is. And if at some point it seems too much and you can't, actually before it seems too much, then move away, give yourself a little space, different focus, and then you come back. Right? Don't have to do it all at once, because trying to do it all at once isn't very tender. Right? And so that sense of kind of titrating the experience, moving away when necessary, coming back when you can, and cultivating that sense of gentleness, goodwill, etc., all the while it seems possible to cultivate it. And when it no longer, or just before it feels like, oh, now I'm having to struggle somehow to do that, give yourself a break. Yeah. Jem says, I want to feel glad-hearted and grateful for the 2 swifts that have come back from Africa to where I live. But when I see them, I feel so sad that there used to be so many more. And I can't find my usual happiness and joy for them being here. Sadness is a quality of tender-heartedness as well. Nothing wrong with being sad. It's the totally right response to some things. Like the loss of something beautiful, the loss of someone we love. Sadness is the right response. So maybe in some moments you can still delight in these 2 swifts. And it may be in other moments, the 2 swifts, delightful as they are a reminder of the wider situation, right? Oh, so many less swifts than there used to be. And I don't know what the specific reasons are for that, but there are so many reasons for nature loss, species loss, habitat loss in our kind of in the climate instability and the insanity with which we're kind of increasingly driving that. Good reason to be sad, right? And on the one hand, there's something beautiful and important about sadness because it tenderizes the heart, right? Why are you feeling sad? Because you're sensitive to that situation. Good, important, beautiful. Right? And sadness is no good to you if you wallow in it, if it becomes overwhelming. Right, and then it's like, oh, everything's shitty. Oh my God, the swifts are just an example of how the whole world's going to pot. And whoa. That's not helpful anymore, and it's also not true. The whole world is so. Just watch out for your sadness getting out of proportion. And if it gets out of proportion, then turn your attention to something that can reinforce or remind you of a sense of goodness, gladness, etc. Yeah. Okay. Gwen says, I'm finding it really difficult to meditate and quiet my mind at present while being in a really hard situation around my living situation. I'm either having to share my jointly owned home with my ex. Not easy. Or move from an area I've lived in for 40 years. Not easy. Understanding what the underlying emotions are, but nothing is helping me calm down in a powerless situation. Not easy. Wow, not easy, Gwen. I know I keep repeating that, but I'm wondering how it lands with you when I say it. Wow, not easy. It's not easy. Because that's the simple truth, right? It's not this is hard. It's hard to stay, and it's hard to go. Right? It doesn't actually, I don't know all the details, but that doesn't actually sound, you'd call it a powerless situation, right? And so I'm not sure, are you powerless in the situation? Sounds like both options are hard. It's hard to stay, living in a situation with somebody who you'd rather not live with, etc., etc. And it's hard to go, right? With all the uncertainty and the newness and etc. of that. Hard to stay and hard to go. So the simple truth is that, well, this is hard. So if something's hard, what does that need? Oh, it's hard. And the recognition of that means, oh, I need to slow down. I need to go gently. I need to go extra gently with myself. Right? And to watch out for the simple truth. Oh, this is hard, and I need to go gently. Watch out for that turning into the much more convoluted truth. Why me? Why this? Why now? And then the endless kind of the endless sort of speculation we can have about about what would happen if I stay and what would happen if I go, even though we don't know necessarily, and all the ways we add layers to it, right, that make it feel more dramatic, more oppressive, etc. So I really, feel for you. It's a hard situation, and I wonder if that acknowledgement just of the simple, like discerning the simple truth that it's hard and you need to go gently, is of some support. And watching out for the way that it becomes a much more dramatized and complex and oppressive kind of a truth, which has the various distortions in it of how we meet it, how we react to it. Yeah. All right. Judy says, I suffer from Parkinson's disease and a tremor on my left side. How to find stillness when the body is moving? Don't look for stillness, Judy. Right? Listen to the movement. No need to find stillness. I mean, if your body is moving, you're not going to find physical stillness. We can speculate about whether there are other kinds of stillness you might find, but I would say stillness isn't a helpful quality to look for when there's movement happening. Maybe spaciousness is a more helpful quality. Can I be spacious enough to feel the movement, allow the movement, relax around the movement, maybe forgive the movement? Yeah. Whereas if you're trying to orientate to stillness, it's going to easily put you in conflict with the movement, right? Which you can't do much about. So I don't know how helpful that might be, but I can imagine orientating to spaciousness and gentleness might be more, and which are equally beautiful qualities, might be more helpful than trying to orientate to stillness. All right, dear ones. Thank you for your practice and your presence, your questioning and your care for one another. I'm seeing all the little hearts bobbing up as you appreciate each other and care for each other, particularly those who've asked questions. Yeah, good. I'm just seeing your response, Gwen, to me answering your question. Yeah, good. All right. Feel free to come back tomorrow. We'll do it all again. As you may have seen in the notes for this week, it's Wesak this week. That's the full moon of May. The full moon of May is the full moon of Buddha's awakening, which is on Thursday night. I'll be sitting all night in meditation at the Mulan with people, because that's what we do generally on Wesak. And so I'm not sure what condition I'll be in for Sangha Live on Friday morning, but we'll see that when we get there. Meanwhile, during the week, I'll give some reflections on Wesak, the history and origin, and how we might kind of make good contemplative use of all that. And we'll also do some chanting and all. I'll talk more about that as the week goes by. Please go gently through the day. Please see what we spoke about at the very beginning of the session, warmth, goodwill and connection, might be beautiful support for the undefended heart, as well as a support for those around you. See you tomorrow.